Well, hello everyone. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News. I'm your host, Leticia Remauro, and we are going to talk about our elections and how to make them safe and secure. You must have heard that the SAVE Act has been coming up um, in negotiations with the budget. Schumer just recently called it Jim Crow 2.0, which is really absolutely laughable. Um, because the Democrats were the one who, started the whole Jim Crow situation. But there's some evidence out there that people of all colors think that our elections should be safe and secure. Could you imagine that? Americans putting America before their ethnicity or their skin color. I have never, of course, Americans want their elections to be safe and secure. And it doesn't matter what color your skin is. Um, Everybody wants voter ID. Who do we have tonight? Hello, Francine. Good to have you. And Debbie Lebedo, good to have you. I'm going to give you a disclaimer right from the get go. Hopefully, I don't fade in and out from dark to light. I thought I did an update on my computer and it fixed the problem that we were having on the in the camera for the longest time, but now I have no clue. I haven't gotten the lighting straight. That was a racist comment. Yes, it was a racist comment from Chuck Schumer. But the Democrats are historically racist. I mean, remember, it's the Democrats that are the racists, not the Republicans. Hello, Colleen. Hi. Did you see the first free supermarket opening in New York City? No. Is it on lands leased by Mamdani from his cousin? Because I heard that's what they were looking at. So it's probably in Queens. Good evening, Kevin Young. Good to have you. Hi, Susan Durema. Good to have you too. Um, Tell us more, Colleen. I didn't see it, but we knew it was coming. And we also know that Mamdani comes from Queens and it's a family affair. There's a lot of family that has property, has holdings across New York City. So the city of Yes that was just passed is a boon for the Mamdani family. The Republican did more for blacks, set the slaves free, Black History Month, etc. Listen, the Republicans do more for Americans. It doesn't matter their skin color. The fact that the Democrats still want to pretend that women have no rights, that blacks, have no IDs, and are too poor and uneducated to get one. The fact that Mexicans are only good for cheap labor, and that all Hispanics, only speak Spanish. These are the Democrats' talking points, not ours. They're the ones who say it, not us. And that, of course, women, need the government to set their salary because they can't negotiate their own salaries. No, no. I've had enough. I've had enough. Just want to say thank you for having these great shows and giving me something to look forward to during these frigid, depressing winter nights. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you right after I say hi to Ray. Hi, Ray. Thanks for joining us tonight. Where are you joining us from, Ray? You know, I got to say that sending the weather here from Greenland as a defensive action was something that I never saw coming, and I'm sure Trump never saw coming either. I mean, the whole of America, the whole of it being frozen out. Now, how the hell did Greenland figure out how to do that? Just absolutely hysterical. It is really, really cold. Even here, I have a sweater on in the house with the heat on. I was just saying to my husband, I've had water running all day. I was baking sourdough bread, which was a disaster. I was doing other things in the kitchen that I needed hot water. And when I turned on the hot water just a little while ago, It ran cold for like about 30 seconds. So our pipes are really cold out. It's cold outside. Do you think there is something fishy about the kidnapping of that anchor's mom? It just doesn't feel right to me. Fishy. First of all, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think that sheriff is like Barney Fife. He's tripping all over himself, and I think he's he's just bumbled this whole thing from the beginning. That's number one. Number two, I feel like she's somewhere in that house. I feel like, um, yeah, somebody put her under a floor or in an attic or somewhere that they haven't looked. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do. And I don't know that she's alive anymore. I think she was alive. I don't think she is anymore. Saying voter ID is no good because voting is constitutional right and shouldn't have to pay to vote. I said we need ID to have a gun, and that's a constitutional right. The response was, oh, that's just an amendment. So is voting an amendment for women. Okay, so then let the men um let the men not have to show voter ID, right? Because or the landholding men not have to show ID when they vote, and then the women and migrants and the blacks and everybody else who only got the vote as part of an amendment, then they don't have. Then they have to show it. How's that? Going on that on that line of logic, what bullshit, that's ridiculous. Hello, Andrew Dorman. All right, so yeah, I'm sure you've seen this clip. If you've watched the news, it's been everywhere, but just in case you didn't, here is the CNN poll on voter ID by skin color.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote. So
I never thought that I'd hear CNN quoting Nicki Minaj as you know the reason that we should have voter ID. That's just so many strange things are happening in the last week. I just can't even. I shared the link about the grocery store. Thank you. I would be fine with the cost of ID being tax deductible if you're poor. You need ID for everything, including opening a bank account, cashing a check. So it doesn't matter what your ability is. Why don't we just make ID free? Why do we have to pay for it? Why are the states putting a cost to it? Why is it not free for your birth certificate? I mean, wait, isn't it free? Isn't your birth certificate free? A copy of your birth certificate or your birth certificate, and that's acceptable as a form of for your registration, right? Do they want two? I don't know. Well, Karen, it doesn't matter when you get here as long as you get here. I thank you very much about the grocery store. A landholding woman law, yes, but the Constitution only gave the right to vote to land owning men, and then the rest were amendments. So if they want to do the amendment thing, then that will make them, their brain will explode if you say that. So circling the black was also a bit racist. Circling the black was, I don't understand that. Nicki Minaj is the voice of reason. Yeah, and John Fetterman. Houston, I don't know. There is a strange vibe lately in the world. It's very eerie. Yes, it is very eerie. It's crazy. All right, I want to show you now. So tonight's show is about what the Republicans and the Democrats are doing to secure the American vote, right? Let's see, which one will I show you next? And I'll tell you why we needed to secure the American vote. Because this happened. This happened in 2020. Watch.
6.9 right now. Are you seeing that? Biden's got 1.252. I'm going to let it play. Here we go.
Gotta wait it out because it's going to scroll back around to Pennsylvania. It's going to go through like to Wisconsin and start alphabetically all over again. So remember that number, 1,690,000, okay? And Biden had 1,252, I believe it was.
Watch it.
Oh, hold on, we're going to go to Michigan next, I believe. Yep. We're focusing on Pennsylvania. That's where the biggest problem is right now. So anybody that's saying this is not true, it absolutely is. Look at that.
Bam, right there. Trump went from 1.690589 to the next update, 1.670631. That is a loss of 19,950.
All right. So, and if you noticed, you probably didn't. I'm sorry. I thought that clip was longer. And that happened live on CNN, and the 19,000 votes that were lost were given to Biden on that trip. So it was a really freaky thing that had happened. CNN only circled the black percentage. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. Nope, just got a copy of my birth certificate to get my enhanced driver's license. $45. Okay. But they give you one for free, right? When you're born? They gotta. Right? Something has to be free. Well, and if not, we should have, identity should be not paid for. Why are we paying to prove our identity? If we're required for it, somebody's got to pay for it. Maybe we could use some tariff money. So it posted wrong. No. So the machine was feeding live into the news. And I'm sorry, I picked the wrong one. And so I'm not making my point. Let me just say what happened. The machines were, feed live, and the news stations get those tabulations live. So this guy was recording or whatever he did. And on the one go round, Pennsylvania showed Trump having 19,000 more votes than what happened on the second go round. And on, when it came scrolling the second time around, but when it came scrolling the second time around, the 19,000 votes that Trump lost was given to Biden. And it was still the same percentages of machines counted. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Yeah, the numbers, yeah. I don't remember. I was just a baby when I was born. Me too, but my mother told me it was free. Fake news. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what's fake news. Voting identification is feasible unless there's traceable voting history. I think without either one, that is extremely concerning. If there's no registration, no vote should be rendered. Well, there are some registrations, but all right, let me show you where there are registrations. Where is it? It is. I've got so many to show you. This one.
It's 9 right now.
This one.
In the state of Georgia, it is illegal to be registered to vote from anywhere other than your primary residence. Can't register to vote at UPS stores, can't register to vote at homeless shelters, can't register to vote under an overpass. But today, and this is as of the January 5th Fulton County voter rolls, about 70 people are registered to vote right here. All right, y'all, this is 850 Oak Street in Fulton County, and there are 19 people registered to vote at this abandoned house. All right, so we are at 1445 Woodmont Lane, physicaladdress.com, 138 people registered to vote. Voter rolls, you've identified a couple hundred other people that very much seem to be the same person, same name, same address, same date of birth.
Yeah.
And tell us about some of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of folks across Georgia who show 1800 or 1900 as their date of birth, which means what I've heard is that means they don't know their date of birth. If Fulton County or anywhere in the state they don't know your date of birth, how can they be checking to see if you're a legal resident? And a lot of these, we were talking about the duplicates. They'll have two people registered at the same address with the same year of birth in slight variations of their names. So maybe it's Bob and Robert. Maybe it's Bob and Bob. And it's clearly the same person at that address. But if you've got typos in somebody's name and you don't know their date of birth, how in the world do we know they're a U.S. citizen? And that just needs to be cleaned up so we can verify everything.
All right, this is 477 Peachtree Street. There's 70 people registered to vote here. It's a homeless shelter that closed in 2017. All right, y'all, here we are, 2625 Piedmont, another UPS store, 96 registered voters right here in direct violation of Georgia law. Not hard to find for us. Apparently pretty hard to find for Fulton County.
So he's a senator, Dalezal, and he's running for, what happened now? It went dark. And he's running for lieutenant governor in Georgia. And he's been harping on Fulton County for these mistakes with voter registrations and the fact that they're not checking addresses. And it's not just in Georgia. I mean, it's happening all over, especially in Arizona. It's a lot of the swing states too. Texas. No, sorry, not Texas. Yeah, Texas. Texas, they found a whole bunch of illegal people on the rolls. I'll show you that in a second. Let's see what everybody has to say. Okay, come on now. We have to show ID at a bar to get a drink. Seriously, we can't show ID to vote? Well, American people, I mean, doesn't matter the color of your skin. The only people they didn't poll were the Asians, which I guess is racist too. Because how is it that the Asians can get ID, but Black and Hispanic people can't? Okay, I'm not even going down the Democrats are racist rabbit hole, but boy, would I like to. We are in a mess, a total mess, so much to deal with, and they are worried about boys and girls sports and drag queen story hour. There are the distractions while they con a shell game. Yeah, well, that's what they keep doing, and we keep falling for it. United States of American fraud, terrible and sad. Yeah, it really is. Okay, let's see. Let's talk. Let's talk about Texas for a minute, and let's talk about Trump being proactive and helping the states to remove illegal migrants from their voter roll, or migrants, non-American citizens from their voter rolls.
Texas used a tool recently given to states from the Trump administration to verify the citizenship, Jeff, of those on its voter rolls. Tell us more.
Earlier this year, President Trump ordered DHS to give states direct access to its SAVE database, which allows election officials to confirm voter citizenship against immigration and naturalization records. Texas then used that tool to cross-check its registered voters. Texas Secretary of State Jane Nelson announcing this week a cross-check of the state's 18 million registered voters against federal citizenship records in the SAVE database found over 2,700 possible illegal immigrants registered on its voter rolls. The SAVE database has proven to be a critically important data set and one of the many that we will continue to use in Texas to ensure that only qualified voters cast a ballot in our elections.
That is quite a change from prior administrations, which always put up red tape and tried to prevent this.
The findings now leading to an eligibility review across the state's 254 counties. Governor Greg Abbott also chiming in, saying since Senate Bill 1 was passed in 2021, which introduced new voter roll restrictions, over 1 million ineligible registrations have been removed. We will continue to actively safeguard Texans' sacred right to vote while also aggressively protecting our elections from illegal voting. The announcement in Texas comes amid growing national scrutiny of voter rolls. Georgia, Arizona, and Florida conducting similar audits. Spagofsky telling us Virginia is also taking notice.
They announced that since 2014, they had removed more than 10,000 aliens from their voter rolls.
Plus, in Ohio, election officials announcing earlier this year it's removing thousands of inactive voters SAVE identified as deceased. And in Louisiana, officials identifying 79 likely non-citizens who voted in at least one election since the 1980s.
I know for certain that there are other states like California and New York who have no interest in this.
Now, Texas was among the first states to partner with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to compare its voter list with that SAVE database. Nelson says each flagged voter has 30 days to provide proof of citizenship.
So California and New York have no interest in making sure that everybody who's registered to vote is a legal immigrant or is a citizen of the United States. I will say this. I have spoken to some New York officials, and the voter rolls are, and I also some consultants who do this kind of work, and they've all told me that the voter rolls are clean. That doesn't mean that everybody is eligible to vote. What that means when I say the voter rolls are clean is that there aren't duplicates and triplicates, and there aren't dead people. There aren't a lot of names that are on the rolls that somebody could just decide to, make a fake ID and go and cast a ballot in the person's name. So, I mean, that's a positive. But I think that is what made the Democrats lose their minds. That accompanied with, Texas trying to fix their districts has made the Democrats lose their minds. And I think that it's fun. Where are we? I talked to a guy who helps his grandma, and she let her license expire and doesn't have ID, and will be hard for her to go in person. She votes absentee. My state has homebound SACs, not all do. I don't know what SEC, homebound secretaries. Okay, well, but if he's not talking about for absentee ballots, the voter ID for absentee ballots, because absentee ballots could be challenged. He's talking about voter IDs at the polls, because here's the thing, traditionally paper can be challenged. It's difficult, it's hard, but it's, if most states only use the paper if the race is too close to call. So the concern, and I think this is what the SAVE Act says, is that it's only if you're going to vote in person at the polls that you have to show ID. If you are seeking a ballot, an absentee ballot, then those things can be challenged. It's like if I right now went to New York and went to my old polling place and said I wanted to vote, and they said, no, you're not in the book. And I'm like, well, I've been here, you know me, I've been doing this for 30 years. I want to vote. They would give me an affidavit, an emergency ballot. And that ballot would be put to the side, and it would be run against my registration. And, it would only be counted if the race was too close to call. But at that point, that ballot would be scrutinized. I might have made that much simpler than it really is, but I know Michael's here, and so is Andrew, and maybe you could explain if I made it too simple, but I think I got that right. Hi, Gloria. Good to have you. Love it. California and New York are run by woke and communists. Yes, indeed. I got polled as a former New Yorker, so thinking I'm finally off the rolls. That's good. I felt happy they noticed. Yeah, that's true. Services. Okay, sorry. If dead people can vote, someone didn't do their job. Well, talk to the people in Chicago. There are a lot of dead people vote. Colleen Mahoney, they were glad to get you off because you're a Republican. That's true. But will states then go to mass mail-in ballots to bypass ID? Can every ballot be checked? Yes, yeah, you can challenge ballots a lot easier than challenging a person, somebody at the polls. You can. A poll watcher can challenge somebody at the polls and say, I don't believe that person is the right person. And and should be able to vote. And then there's a whole mishigas, but people don't like direct confrontation. So, the one thing that I was really pissed at in 2020 was there was so much paper and I had been yelling and screaming to the National Republican Committee. And this is why I know that they were in on the whole scam, because they did not have legal teams ready to challenge these paper ballots. And that pissed me off. It was like Rudy and some others were on their own, and that was it. And they needed those people to challenge the paper ballots. Let's see. I have a friend here in Michigan that has lived in her home for 20 years, and she gets an absentee ballot every year for the prior homeowner. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem because they shouldn't be getting absentee ballots. In New York, the one thing I will say that they do is they do a check. They send a voter form, and if it gets returned to sender, then they know that person's no longer there. If it doesn't, they will keep on sending the absentee ballot for the deceased, for the person. Like if you didn't tell the Board of Elections that the person died, and by the way, Board of Elections wants an actual death certificate. So who's going to spend the money to send a death certificate to the Board of Elections? Most people don't. So they keep you on the rolls. But then when like a new family moves in, usually they purge the rolls, but not all. And the big problem with registration, and again, some of the guys can talk about it, Andrew and Michael, they're both very familiar, is like when women get married and take their husband's name or hyphenate, that becomes a problem. And like they live in the house together. Now all of a sudden she's registered twice, in her maiden name and in her husband's name, or in her maiden name and her husband's name and her hyphenated name. So that's why it's really important for purging to take place. But people don't want purging to take place because they say that it can take away the right to vote of somebody who's legally registered. But if you get a notice and say, well, you got to prove to me that you're a citizen, or you got to prove to me that you're still alive, otherwise you're going to be suspended from the active voter rolls, then there's a multitude of ways you could do that. Mine and your friend in Zillions got 4 different ballots in his house in 2020. Yeah, absolutely. That was George. He got ballot. He moved all within the same neighborhood, and he was friends because he moved into like the basement apartment of friends' houses, and they all gave him his ballot. Illegal immigrants voting is very concerning. Someone didn't do their job, and those illegal migrants voting must belong to a powerful clique. Yeah, well, that's the not-for-profits. Help them to register, because usually illegal migrants stay in the shadows. They don't like government entities. Illinois is not Zillions. Oh, okay. Oh, Illinois. Oh, I thought you were talking to George in Staten Island. Okay, let me show you Maricopa County, what's going on there.
Maricopa County elections official who questioned the results of the 2020 presidential vote is now claiming that he's found evidence of voter fraud in last year's election.
The allegations coming from Republican Justin Heap just 4 months into his new job as county recorder. 12 News journalist Bram Resnick has a closer look at the claims made by Heap at a recent Republican Party meeting.
Republican Justin Heap has kept a low profile since taking office. His allegations of voter fraud excited the audience, but left a lot of questions unanswered. Donald Trump supporter Justin Heap debunked a 5-year-old conspiracy theory repeated by fellow Trump supporters about 10,000 phony votes in Arizona in 2020.
We went and we looked. And look, I can tell you what we confirmed is, I can tell you 10,000 people did not vote with the same Social Security number.
According to audio obtained by 12 News, the new Maricopa County recorder then told an audience of 100 Republican activists about alleged voter fraud that his office uncovered in the 2024 election won by Trump.
But looking at it, guess what we...
Maricopa County elections official who questioned the results of the 2020 presidential vote is now claiming that he's found evidence of voter fraud in last year's election.
The allegations coming from Republican Justin Heap just 4 months into his new job as county recorder. 12 News journalist Bram Resnick has a closer look at the claims made by Heap at a recent Republican Party meeting.
Republican Justin Heap has kept a low profile since taking office. His allegations of voter fraud excited the audience, but left a lot of questions unanswered. Donald Trump supporter Justin Heap debunked a 5-year-old conspiracy theory repeated by fellow Trump supporters about 10,000 phony votes in Arizona in 2020.
We went and we looked. And look, I can tell you what we confirmed is, I can tell you 10,000 people did not vote with the same Social Security number.
According to audio obtained by 12 News, the new Maricopa County recorder then told an audience of 100 Republican activists about alleged voter fraud that his office uncovered in the 2024 election won by Trump.
But looking at it, guess what we found? We did identify a number of voters that we can prove voted multiple times in the last election, and those will be referred over for prosecution.
The crowd cheered, but there are questions. Heap did not provide more information on the alleged fraud. Former recorder Stephen Richer, who was defeated by Heap in last year's Republican primary, told 12 News the allegations weren't surprising. When you have millions of people participating, Richer said, some people break the law. According to a spokesman for Attorney General Chris Mays, the AG's office has received 38 referrals for investigations from the recorder's office. Richer said those post-election numbers were consistent with criminal referrals in past years.
So sorry about that glitch. Debbie asked, so if they find out the 2020 election was won by Trump, what are they going to do about it? They can't do anything about it. It was certified. That's what January 6th was all about. The requests from the protesters were, don't certify until we can investigate whether these, anomalies had a bearing on the vote count, and they certified anyway. So once an election is certified, it's certified. And that's what happened once they invited all those protesters into the Capitol, and then the riot broke out. I do this because we don't believe that it was from the protesters that the riot broke out. We believe that it was Antifa and possibly even some nefarious people, because that incentivized Republican Congress people to vote because they were pissed off, and they were basically pressured to vote for that certification because of the riot. So this election fraud has been going on forever. Now it's a larger scale because of migrants. Listen, it started with Tammany Hall in New York, right? And went over to what's his name over in Mahoney or Leary? I can't remember who. In Chicago, he was the boss in Chicago. It's been going on for a very long time. Shamed into voting. That's what they shamed. Shamed is the right word. Thank you. I was looking for that. Okay, so lastly, Virginia's statehouse has decided now that they have control. They decided that they were going to redraw maps. Listen.
Good morning. Look, Donald Trump knows he's going to lose the midterms. He knows it. That's why he's started this mess in the first place. I tried to tell you all that. First he calls Texas, give me more seats. Then that's not enough. So he calls North Carolina, Missouri, Ohio. I need more. Today we are leveling the playing field. These are not ordinary times, and Virginia will not sit on the sidelines while it happens. We made a promise to level the playing field, and today we're keeping our promise. Our maps are ready. Virginia's ready. We said 10-1, and we meant it. And we are proud to deliver a map that stands up for democracy, to stand up for Virginians, to stand up and give us a voice. He started this mess, and Virginia is going to finish it.
Virginia to the rescue. Senator Lucas said it best. We've been working really hard to make sure that we got this delivered. This is about leveling the playing field across the country. Republicans are gerrymandering maps to override the will of the voters. We just saw it in Texas, North Carolina, and Missouri. At Donald Trump's direction, They're manipulating election maps because they know they can't win on their agenda in 2026. So instead of changing their ideas, they're trying to rig the system. A 10-1 map levels the playing field, and we're ready to move forward. Today we're making good on our promise by releasing the maps publicly. We're going to get them released either by the end of the day or early tomorrow. We'll get those maps released. And putting them out in the open and allowing them to be debated the way they should be in a democracy, we're going to leave it up to Virginia voters. The maps are ready. Virginia's ready. And as my senator said many times, 10-1. 10-1. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
So you might want to know what 10-1 means. It means that 10 Democrats to every 1 Republican in the congressional district. So they think that that's the fair. They're pissed off because they say Donald Trump is trying to gerrymander maps where Republicans are in control. So they're going to gerrymander maps so that it's 10 Democrats to 1 Republican. And I just want to show you something. This is actual gerrymandering. In Maine, 36% of the registered voters are Republicans, and they have 0 seats. Connecticut, 42%, 0 seats. Massachusetts, Maine is 46% Republican, 0 seats. Well, you can read it for yourself. So this is something that's been going on all the while. And now Donald Trump has the gullions to call them out on it. And all of a sudden they're losing their mind. So there you go. Then we can redistrict too. They want to play. They set the standard. Yeah, well, that's what's happening. Is there a difference between machine voting and illegal voting? Machine voting and illegal voting. I'm not sure that I understand that question, Andrew. I'm sorry. If you're voting in a voting machine, you're talking about like the computer voting. That computer voting is really, it's terrible. Level the playing field. They own the field. They sure do. But they were putting Virginia forward as a purple state. So let's see if it truly is a purple state. I'm disgusted. They are the master gerrymanders. They are. Please send me that chart you just had up with the states and percentage and seats. Yes, I will. Okay, everybody, we're over again. Thank you for joining us at Let's Talk News. I will see you on Sunday. Have a really great weekend, everyone. And if you have any tidbits, send them my way so that we can talk news. See you on Sunday. Love you all.